Hi everyone, Michael Cavacini here, and welcome to another one of my Revisiting Saw videos. We're revisiting every movie in the Saw franchise, and today we're going to be revisiting Saw 3D. If you haven't seen my first 6 videos for this series, go watch them. And if you don't own Saw 3D but would like to, there's a link down below for you to click to buy a copy for yourself. Also down below you'll find a link to my website, michaelcavacini.com. Click there to visit my site and enjoy other great content. Also, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much, and let's dive into Saw 3D. So released on October 29th, 2010, just in time for Halloween, Saw 3D was to be the final film in the franchise. And it was going out in a blaze of glory with the technology that was all the rage at the time, 3D. Kevin Grudert, who is behind the camera in Saw 6, returns to direct Saw 3D. I saw this movie in theaters when it was released to experience this final installment in real D 3D. Is Saw 3D a love letter to fans that ties up everything nicely with a big, beautiful bow? Well, let's discuss. First, let's talk about the 3D effects in this movie. 3D has been tried in movies for decades. It's really popular one minute, and then it's gone the next. 3D was wildly popular when Saw 3D came out, and not just in the movies. In 2011, the following year, Nintendo released the 3DS, a handheld video game system that provides glasses-free stereoscopic 3D. And in 2010, the same year that Saw 3D was released, 3D TV sets were available to buy, so consumers could experience this visual wonder at home. In 2022, 12 years later, the 3DS has been discontinued, and neither 3D TV sets nor 3D Blu-ray players are being produced anymore. So 3D theatrical releases are almost non-existent as well. So it seems that for now, our love affair with 3D, which was sparked most recently by Avatar, has waned. However, I'm sure it will return, as it always has. But let's rewind back to October 2010, when 3D was still relevant and Saw 3D hit theaters. The filmmakers did a fine job with employing the use of 3D technology. While many 3D films were shot traditionally, and then that footage was transferred to 3D, Saw 3D was shot entirely in Real D 3D, using the SI 3D digital camera system. There are plenty of moments in the movie where objects or innards fly at the screen, providing a wonderful 3D effect. I remember moving my head several times, subconsciously thinking that I was about to get hit by one of these items because the 3D effect was so convincing. At this point in the world of 3D film, the Real D 3D glasses, which resembled Ray-Ban sunglasses, were significantly more comfortable, effective, and aesthetically pleasing than the old-school paper 3D glasses being used for Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare in 1991. Technology aside, the story is what matters most. As always, multiple storylines are taking place at once. At long last, Dr. Lawrence Gordon returns to Saw. We see what happened after he escaped the room, and as the movie plays out, that he helped Jigsaw with a variety of tasks that required medical training, such as stitching a victim's eye shut, inserting a key into an orifice, and sealing it, as George Carlin would say, real high-tech shit. Apparently the filmmakers scoured Saw message boards to read what loose ends fans wanted them to address. And they did their best to do just that. Bringing back the good doctor was the best way to satisfy the fans, especially since so many of us were talking about the possibility of him returning in previous sequels. The Detective Hoffman versus Jill Tuck storyline returns in this entry, and it comes to a head, pun intended, when at the end of the movie, Jill is placed in the original reverse bear trap by Hoffman. She doesn't survive, and finally seeing the destructive force that this trap can wield, especially in vivid and explicit 3D, was spectacularly gruesome. Costas Mandylor is once again phenomenal in his role, and I'm thrilled that he played such an important part in the majority of the sequels. He oozes evil from his pores and completely embodies this part to the fullest extent possible. The centerpiece of Saw 3D's story is a self-help guru, Bobby Dagan, who's profiting off of his supposed survival of Jigsaw's test. He claims that he made it out of a Jigsaw trap and became a better man because of it. He's more grateful to be alive, found the love of his life, wrote a book about the whole ordeal, and is trying to inspire others with his story. It's revealed that he's a liar who's making money off something that never happened, which is an affront to the real victims as well as John Jigsaw Kramer himself. The exchange between John Kramer and Bobby at Dagan's book signing is epic. And not just because John is donning a backward baseball cap, seemingly as a disguise. It's satisfying because we, the audience, know something that Bobby Dagan doesn't. He's about to incur the wrath of Jigsaw, and more than likely meet his maker. I enjoyed this entire storyline, and I thought that Sean Patrick Flannery was excellent in this role. Bobby is tasked with completing a series of traps where he has to save those who are accomplices in his deception, such as his publicist and lawyer. In the end, he saves no one, but not before causing them and himself an immense amount of harm and torment. All of these traps are inventive, and I love how the final trial is based on the lie he built his fortune on. Poetic justice, indeed. Being that this is a Saw movie, there's a police procedural element to it as well. Chad Donella, who looks like a poor man's Ryan Gosling, plays Detective Matt Gibson. He's campy as hell and fairly entertaining, but Gibson is borderline goofy, especially when he calls Jill crazy countless times, in a way that's meant to be humorous when questioning her. The detective work in this movie took a backseat to everything else, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, as it's the weakest element of Saw 3D. When it is revealed that Dr. Gordon is an accomplice of Jigsaw, he captures Detective Hoffman and chains him to a pipe in a bathroom from the first movie, casting away the saw he used to cut off his own foot, and slamming the door shut after uttering those legendary final words, "Game over." Having the final guy from the first movie switch from protagonist to antagonist and dish out a heavy dose of Jigsaw goodness in the very room where this all started was the perfect way to put a cherry on top of this intricately constructed yet wonderfully satisfying ice cream sundae known as the Saw franchise. Saw 3D lives up to the hype and is still just as good 11 years later, despite the lead detective being a bit lame. Everything else in this film is intense and epic. From the outdoor trap in the opening scene featuring hundreds of onlookers to Bobby's trial, Saw 3D is jam-packed with a lovingly crafted insanity. Bringing the series to an end by wrapping up the Detective Hoffman and Jill Tuck storyline, as well as incorporating Dr. Gordon's triumphant return, made for a satisfying conclusion. Adding in Bobby's storyline freshened things up, while addressing the popularity of Jigsaw and his traps. Having watched all the Saw movies countless times, Saw 3D was the payoff I was looking for, and it didn't disappoint. More importantly, it still holds up more than a decade later. Watch or don't watch, make your choice. So Saw 3D, what do you think about it? I know some people don't care for it. I thought it was really well done, and just pretty damn good. But what are your thoughts? Comment down below. Do you like Saw 3D? Do you hate it? And why? Let me know. Again, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, visit my website, michaelcavacini.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you soon. Take care.